That white one's tangled up a wee bit against them.
They say all you need is a spare room, you know, all you need is to give a damn. I mean, really care. I mean, want today, it's not just a job.
I suppose the easiest way to explain shared lives is to describe it as fostering. An adult with a learning disability is matched with a family, and he or she moves in to live with the family on a permanent basis.
Walk round Donna.
A lot of people have this impression, oh, you have to be a special person if you were going to do that, and people quite often say that. But really, I think it's just a case of accepting people as they are and getting on with it and trying to see things positively.
It's my job. I do it, I like doing it, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like doing it. You feel as if you make a difference.
There's no point in people coming for the money, because it's not a fantastically well paid career. However, generally it's people who care, who have got lots of love to share.
Do you want me to stick in the dishwasher?
No, just I'll dry and put them away. David came to me 2 years ago. He tried a few placements and nothing really was working for him. I just felt as if he just needed somebody to love him. Do you know what I mean? He seemed lost.
David had been in care for a number of years, and his wish was to live with a family, preferably with an older brother and a younger sister.
My daughter's younger than him. He was delighted that there was an older one as well, and his work and what he was doing so that he could join in helping him. He decided to join it. So he was quite happy with the setup and who was in the family.
He had missed out on all of the structured learning and things like that from his formative years because he didn't have the sort of family input that was needed to do that. So when he moved into Lynn's, he just went daft, basically.
The first month was hellish in that. I was kinda bad in that. And then she knew that it was going to be like that, because obviously your first month is quite bad.
I knew myself I could reach him. I knew I could reach him. It was just a matter of time.
Me feeling like suicidal and that, so she had to deal with that. Me getting up to the hospital and that, getting the police phone and that. But then I thought it settled in.
David had never had a boundary in his life, and I put boundaries in place, which was quick to turn him round. And he gets treated exactly the same as my own two. He could see the way that I was interacting and working with my own kids with boundaries, and he was picking that up, so he accepted it. So I says to David, right, you've got consequences for your behaviour, because your behaviour's not acceptable, so your consequences are you'll be up at 6 in the morning with me to go and work out the horses. Hello, my darling. And he hated it. So it worked.
Good choice of owner. Right, other way.
Lynn's a very strong character. She's had to be strong because the first year that David was with Lynn, if you look at 52 weeks worth of crisis points, 1 a week, 52, so she's had to be strong to deal with all of that. And I think David's now learning just how strong Lynn is.
It's rewarding in the way that how far he's come and what had been his life before I got David, and it was repetitive behaviour all the time, and now you can see that it's practically gone. He's so settled. Slow.
At the moment, the incidents are few and far between. He's very settled. He understands himself that he is causing the problems.
He can make some dumb choices. If he's unsure, or if it's a big choice he's got to make, he'll come to me and ask. what do you think? And then I give him my opinion, and then he goes away and thinks about it himself.
It's good being part of a family, it's different. So she's brought me to a good point.
Hello, stand.
Since I've moved here, I've got more pals and that, hang about with somebody that can listen to me. So I'm quite settled where I am, and I wouldn't change that.
Is that the garlic?
You want to plug it in for me?
Yes. You ride a pug. I'm Bill Black, I'm Kim John's carer, and Kim came here nearly 8 years ago. She's been staying here when my wife was alive. Kim moved in with us. Oh, that's a good cup of coffee.
Right, that's Shauna's.
Okay.
And then you're next.
I'm next. June of 2012, my wife very suddenly died of a sudden heart attack. So it's completely out of the blue, and we just had a kind of situation of trying to deal with things, and Kim was kind of saying, well, what do I do? And I just said, we just keep doing what we've been doing.
It took us a while to get our heads around, because you always keep expecting her coming down the stairs. Well, we start cooking first, then the veggies first.
If we chop the onions up. She talked with the staff at Cornerstone about whether she wanted to stay here, and she said she did want to continue to live here. So we had a few discussions about how we would do that and how we go about it, and before really more than a couple of months had passed by, we just had kind of settled into a kind of different routine.
Kim was very understanding of the need for Bill to have time to himself and time to grieve. Kim did a lot of reflection on her own circumstances when her mum died, and she used a lot of her experience from when her mum died to help Bill through the grieving process.
She helped me in terms of keeping a structure, and there's probably times when I would have maybe got up and thought about doing something and then thought, no, I won't even bother. You know, because you just weren't feeling motivated, and then you think to yourself, well, Kim's there and we need to keep things going for her as well as me, and it would help to keep me motivated, so it was very much a two-way street, yeah. So what are you going to do then after that? You're going to get lunch or something?
Bill plants seeds, makes suggestions and then forgets about them. It's the way that things move, and it works well for Kim.
You don't want to cry?
No.
Alright then, I'll cry. In a lot of ways, Kim's quite independent and happy to do her own thing, but she does like to know that there's somebody there, so that if she had a problem, she'll come and say, her usual phrase is, hey, Bill, could I have a wee bit of help here? And it's just something that she's maybe having a bit of a struggle with, and it takes 5 minutes to sort it out, sort of thing, and then she feels happy that's been done.
Kim has been diagnosed with cancer, and Bill's going to be there to support Kim through her treatment and recovery.
As soon as you knew there was something wrong, we went and saw about it, and everything's been done that can be done, so hopefully when all that's finished, you'll be okay, and you'll just have to go for check-ups now and again to keep an eye on things.
You need sugar in yours?
Yes, please. Oh, no, I think so.
The carers forums which we have happen every month.
And what we can do is sit and go over the minutes.
It gives the carers an opportunity to get together with each other. They find that very supportive because they're able to discuss problems, how they've dealt with things.
So I could say, oh well, I know Robert, I know.
We have new carers who apply to become permanent carers. What I tend to do is invite them along to the forums.
We can only just meet the panel.
It gives them a chance to ask questions.
Did anybody actually give up work then to actually work just now?
It's good to talk to the other carers just to find out different things that are happening, what's going on. It's nice, met the new people and they seem really nice, and hopefully they thought we were nice too.
It's a really, really good group of people. You can see very much how caring they are and how supportive of one another they are.
So there's some very real stories today, and a wee hint of when it can go wrong.
Yes.
And the support that's there when it does, which was encouraging and reassuring.
Obviously, once you've got a placement, the first few weeks I'll be out on a fairly regular basis anyway. I suppose when you've seen an advert and you've thought about it, yep, I'll go to the meeting, you come in, it can be quite daunting walking into a room of other people that you don't know, strangers. You can be very wary of what you're letting yourself in for. However, we're very welcoming, and we're more than happy to sit down with people, to answer questions and to allay any fears that they really have about becoming a carer and sharing their home on a full-time basis. But it was a really, really difficult time, but we got over it, and Anne-Marie is still with us.
It's difficult. It's good.
You keep doing it.
I know.
You do.
There was nothing held back. There was one lady who had shared a bit of when things went wrong, and you could see the emotion in her. And that was one of the concerns for me, is when, and it was one of the questions that, I think I will find it difficult if it goes wrong, how to deal with that, and not to feel bad about feeling bad, if you like. And some very real life-changing experiences for not just for the carers, but for them being cared as well.
Alan calls her mum. She's his mum.
He's just been there all along. He's just been there all along. He just one of my boys. It's just my Wayne, 28-year-old Wayne.
People are more than welcome to come along if they are interested in becoming a shared lives carer. And I think sitting down and talking to experienced carers is the best way of finding out if it's something that's going to be for you. And if it's for you, then we can take it from there.
I moved in when I was 16, so now I'm 27, so I've been there for 11 years in November.
Alan went to respite at Clare's 12 years ago. He had been matched with Clare, having had visits and overnights, and then just didn't leave.
Underneath some of these. I think when Alan first came in, he's quite a lost soul. He had no confidence whatsoever, absolutely none. He asked for things, permission for everything. There was no instinct. It was like he'd no control over anything, which was horrendous. It made me feel quite upset.
That white one's tangled up a wee bit again, son.
Clare found it very difficult to make bonds with Alan. He was not trusting of females at that time, and Clare worked hard to develop that relationship with him.
12 years we've had Alan now, and he's turned into a fantastic young man. Right, just the usual. And I just feel that we worked so well together, and he's learned and he's progressed, and he's just a fantastic lad. He's just smashing it. As I say, I can't imagine him not in the family. He's just one of my boys, as I say.
He calls her mum, and I think that in itself explains the type of relationship they have. He calls her mum and she calls him son.
He actually came to the kids first and he said, "Would you mind if I called Clare mum?" And the kids were, "No, we're fine with that." And it wasn't because he thought I was his mum, because he's very aware I'm not his biological mother, but he felt comfortable enough. And I think that's the longest he'd been in placement, was like 6 months to a year without somebody saying, "Right, we've had enough, move on." Need money?
No, I've got.
You got enough for you? Right, okay, son. Right,
It was something that he'd never really had in his life up until then. The opportunity to call someone mum and to make those bonds and to look on someone as, the caring figure that most of us have the good fortune to have throughout our lives. He hadn't.
For me, going holiday, Alan just comes with us because we go as a family.
It's been really good. Going different places. Went to Canada with my dad last year, and I'm going back in September, and going down to Prestwick to spend time with my niece and nephew.
Alan says he's here till he's 40. That's his words, not mine. I'd be quite happy for Alan to be in his own wee flat and be able to help him do it up and in the local area, so I could still keep an eye on him, make sure he's safe. But he's quite happy to be here, and as long as he's happy to be here, then his room's there for as long as he wants.
So, for Alan, Shared Lives has given him a family and a life. It's probably the biggest and best opportunity that he's ever had.